Okay. So, hi everyone, and welcome to the weekly Dharma gathering. My name is Gail Spiva, and tonight's session is going to be led by Sojourner Zenobia. I hope I pronounced your name moderately close. It is titled "The Earth is My Witness: A Beautiful Call to Action." Sojourner will lead us through a guided meditation, Dharma talk, and we'll close with a Q&A discussion. Tonight's session will be recorded, so if you prefer not to be seen, please turn off your camera feature. Please note that you will also be recorded when asking a question. Also, if you have a question during the guided instruction or the talk, please feel free to enter it in the chat box, which is on the right of the screen at any time, and we'll be able to address it during the discussion period. And the recording of tonight's gathering can be accessed within 48 hours via your purchased products on your Vimeo weekly Dharma gathering account. You'll receive an email notification once it's posted. So about Sojourner. Sojourner Zenobia, their pronouns are she, her, they, them, is a Chicago-based performance artist and meditation teacher. She graduated from Naropa University in Boulder in 2006 with a BFA in interdisciplinary performance and a minor in Buddhist philosophy. They studied performance at the School of Steppenwolf, I love that, in Chicago, and I'm going to mangle this too, Pan Theater, but I'm sure I mispronounced that, in Paris, with a focus on vocal training and choreographic theater. So take it away.
Okay, great. Hello. Thank you for joining me tonight. I would love to give a little moment now that we're all here together to just make sure that everybody has what they need. This is going to be very experiential, like an experiential journey. We're going to sing together. There's a little bit of movement. My structure is going to be a little different actually than what was explained. So we'll do some movement and some singing, some other things. I would love to have to make available the option to dialogue inside of the discussion instead of afterwards. So I'll open it up, and if anyone has any questions while everything is going on, there'll be a moment for that. I would love folks to get a journal or something to write with while we're going through this. I'm going to ask folks to write things down. And at the end, we'll do a little bit of sitting before it's opened up again for dialogue and questions. So just want to give you a few minutes to get everything together. Like I said, there's going to be some movement. So if you need to, change into some more comfy clothes, get some water, get your writing utensils, and all of that. Just give you a few minutes to do that. And then we'll start. Okay. So I love to open up all of the spaces that I lead and guide with a land acknowledgement. And it goes right along with our topic today of the moment that Buddha reached enlightenment. And there's two different stories. Proclaimed, the earth is my witness. Another version of the story is the earth rose up and said, I am your witness. So it's all about that call to action. It's a subtle call to action that comes along with just noticing that relationship, that subtle relationship between your body and sitting on the earth and the ground. So throughout this whole session, I'm going to ask you to revisit what your body feels like in the moment, touching earth, and just ask yourself in that moment, what is being called? What is calling in that moment from the wisdom of your own body? So we'll start with the land acknowledgement. And if you could just take a breath, close your eyes or not, but just take a breath. Maybe touch your body in a place that is calling in this moment. And opening up your heart to listen. So today we begin our session with a land acknowledgement co-created in conversation with Fawn Ponchel, First Nations Cree of the American Indian Center here in Chicago. We begin by acknowledging that we are currently occupying the ancestral lands of the Council of Three Fires. And if you could repeat the names with me of these three council people. So repeating Chippewa and Ottawa and Potawatomi. So as well as over a dozen tribes that call this land home. We acknowledge that Illinois is the second most manipulated landscape in the United States, and we don't have any indigenous ecosystems outside of burial grounds. The majority of the restoration work done on, in, and around the city isn't true to the original topography of this region. Even our river system, which is used to segregate communities, has been manipulated and rerouted, as has the lakefront. What Chicago looks like today is not indigenous, nor is it healthy for this ecosystem. Native people were and are keepers of indigenous systems, and when they were forced off these lands, many of their practices of sustaining the land also changed, and the relationships between the colonizers and the land became exploitive and abusive. A lot of the greening of Chicago has been done without the consent of Native people who have been the ones to steward this land since time immemorial. As we gather today on this stolen land, we must consider what it means that Native people don't have access to their ancestral lands. And when they are allowed on them, it's within the role of educator for non-Native people. As employees of this park district, so this was created in collaboration with a group that I was working with at the park district. We begin today to imagine a process of restoring trust and rebuilding relationships. Our deepest intention is to transform the harm that was done to Indigenous people, plants, animals, and sacred relationships through genocide, colonization, cultural and environmental degradation. So I just want to take a moment and kind of absorb all of that information that was in the land acknowledgement. I also want to invite folks to work on a land acknowledgement wherever you are in the country, in the world. And what we were instructed to do with Fawn was that a land acknowledgement isn't like an overarching kind of brush that you can do this on any land. So what you actually want to do is you want to make contact with the actual Indigenous First Nations people that live on that land, and it's a collaboration. So you want to create the land acknowledgement with the people so that you're honoring what they actually, how they honor the land and what they want to be said about who they are in relationship to the land. So that is one beautiful call of action that's being invited from you today. So if we could just take a moment to feel with all of that information, our bodies on this earth, and just feel that contact and that acknowledgement of the land. And the history of the land. And I want to invite you to just kind of feel into what part of your body is most resonant right now. And maybe even put a hand on that part of your body. And I just want you to ask yourself, what is calling right now in this moment from your body, about the land, about your relationship to the land. And if anything does arise, just take a few moments to write it down. So what is calling in your body? That was my speaker. All right, so now we're gonna sing a song by Sweet Honey in the Rock. And feel free to take yourself off mute and sing with me. The number of times that I've sang through a Zoom call, there tends to be a little feedback. So maybe it's better to keep your microphones on mute. But this song is called Breaths. And so I just want us to, I'm gonna do a call and response the first 2 times, and then I'm gonna sing it and you're just gonna sing with me, and we're gonna flow through it a few times. And so I just want you to listen to the words and again, feel into what's calling in the body when you sing these words, when you feel these words, when you listen to your body saying the message of this song. Be aware of the sensations that come up. Okay. So I'm going to sing the first sentence and you're going to repeat, and we'll do it that way through the whole song, which is only about 4 sentences. There it goes. Listen more often to things than to beings. Repeat. So go ahead and sing. Yeah, we can all sing together. Maybe it's better if people take their microphones off so that I can hear you call and respond. I think that's a good idea. You don't have to take your videos off, but.
I guess I wasn't paying quite enough attention to be able to go and respond.
Okay, that's okay.
One more time that I can.
No problem.
Thank you.
Okay. So you're just going to respond to the sentences that I sing, and it'll be about 4 sentences. It's a short song. It's only the first half of the song, and then we'll sing it all together throughout. Okay, it goes. Listen more often to things than to beings.
Listen more often than things than to beings.
Listen more often to things than to beings.
Listen more often to things than
to
being.
'Tis the ancestors' breath when the fire's voice is heard.
'Tis the
ancestors' breath
breath
when fire. Sorry.
When the fire's voice is heard. Good. And this is the last part. 'Tis the ancestors' breath in the voice of the waters. 'Tis the
ancestors' breath
In
in
the
the
voice
voice
of
of
the
the
waters.
Yes, perfect. So we're gonna do it one more time, repeating, and then we're just gonna sing it all together. So listen more often to things than to beings. Listen
Listen
more
often
often
to
to
things
things
than
than
to
to beings.
beings.
Right. Listen more often to things than to beings.
Listen more often
Often
to
to things
Things
things than to beings.
is the ancestors' breath when the fire's voice is heard. Is
'Tis
the
the
ancestors' breath
voice
when the
of
fire's
fire.
voice is heard.
Tis the ancestors' breath in the voice of the waters. Tis the ancestors'
Ancestors'
breath
breath in
in
the
the voice of
voice
the
of the
waters.
waters.
Cool. So I know there's a little like lag, but we're just gonna sing it, and we're gonna sing it 3 times. And don't worry about if everybody's voice is beautiful. So this is just all about you feeling the sound of the words and listening to the message of the words. So if it helps to close your eyes, at this point, I think if it helps to just turn off the microphone and listen to yourself sing, I'm just gonna be singing through the song, and you can sing with me and just enjoy and listen, okay? Okay. Listen more often to things than to beings. Listen more often to things than to beings. 'Tis the ancestors' breath when the fire's voice is heard. 'Tis the ancestors' breath in the voice of the waters. Listen more often to things than to beings. Listen more often to things than to beings. 'Tis the ancestors' breath when the fire's voice is heard. 'Tis the ancestors' breath in the voice of the waters. Listen more often to things than to beings. Listen more often to things than to beings. 'Tis the ancestors' breath when the fire's voice is heard. 'Tis the ancestors' breath in the voice of the waters. Okay. So just again, you're gonna close your eyes and just take in the lyrics to that song and feel what's calling in the body after singing that song. And then again, you're just gonna write down anything that came up for you from the sensations in your body from singing what's calling. It's calling to you. Okay. So our bodies are really the reflection of the earth. And meditation and Buddhism is a ground practice. It happens when you sit on the earth and you feel the weight of your body held by the earth. And that truth of our bodies being the same as the soil of the earth is reflected in so many beautiful ways. So if you look at the seasons and you look at the planet, you know, the planet has 4 seasons. We go through spring and summer and fall and winter. You know, there's tornadoes and there's light rain showers. And there's summer and there's hot days and there's really cold days and there's freezing days. And it's just going through all of these phases very naturally, constantly changing, constantly moving, constantly, you know, shifting and growing and dying. And when we're sitting on the cushion, we're really working to hold the space for ourselves to be reflections of the nature of being from the earth. So when we're sitting on the earth in practice, we have rage come up, tornadoes of rage. We have showers of sadness. You know, we have warm summer, glowy feelings of joy. And we want to, you know, the practice is that we want to push things away, or we want to hold on to them forever. But the practice of sitting is to let it be just like the earth cycles through without a judgment, without anything. It's just constantly moving and cycling and moving and cycling. And so ourselves as a reflection of that, the weather patterns, we get to know that we are being held by the earth. So the 2 stories, it's one story, but there's kind of 2 different versions that I have personally heard. When the Buddha reaches their moment of enlightenment, the earth, you know, Mara as the archetype of our thoughts, of our mind, is like, are you sure you want to leave? Are you sure you want to reach enlightenment? Is that the right thing to do for you right now? Are you going to leave all of your disciples? You know, like, who do you think you are, trying to be the enlightened one? You know, and in that moment, the earth rises up and says to the Buddha and to Mara, I am your witness. I am your witness, Buddha. And the other version is the Buddha touching the earth and saying, the earth is my witness. So when we think about the earth saying, I am your witness, it's really giving us permission to be as giant and as big and as expressive as we are in our bodies, because our bodies reflect the nature of earth. So there's actually no way that anything that we do or feel can be too much, because the earth is holding us. The earth is our witness and has witnessed everything since the beginning of time until now. And so we definitely live in a culture of shame and lack, and a culture that really has us programmed to be as small as only as big as you know, we're supposed to be. You're not supposed to ruffle any feathers or make anybody uncomfortable or make anybody scared or push into any edges. But if you're there and we're here for the greater good of all beings, and in that moment, in any moment, you feel the power of your own personal tornado, your own personal summer coming up. You are held and witnessed by the earth itself to let that force of nature come and go as it naturally will do. And this beautiful thing of touching the earth as well also gives you permission to stay with what it is that's coming up in you and to not be ashamed or apologetic about it, but to let it come and go like the winter comes and goes, like a breeze comes and goes. And so we're going to do another little practice right now. That's just a movement practice. And it's an opportunity for us to connect more with our own bodies as earth. So we'll call it the touching earth practice, because our bodies as earth, we're going to, work on sinking into our own sensations and working with this body in a way that feels good to us. So I think that in our days, we have, a lot of shapes that we take that are very programmed. So we sit and we stand and we walk. We walk to work, and we sit down at our desks, or we sit down in the car, and then we stand, and then we walk. And those things are very kind of structured. They're structured to be kind of shapes that are really great for producing things that are outside of our true and authentic selves. But when we really listen to what our body wants to do, you may find yourself in the middle of your day stretching your arms out like this. It's a very unique shape to take in the middle of an office space. But I think that, when you really touch into your own earth, your own body, that something really truly authentic starts to flower and emerge. And so that's what we're looking to tap into in this moment right now. So I'm just going to start by taking a few deep breaths. And this is like a authentic movement or kinesthetic delight practice. So it's all about what feels good to you. So I'm guiding the movement, but if something that I say or offer as a movement doesn't feel good to you, or we're moving on to something else and you'd rather stay in the movement, in the prior movement, then I always say, trust the wisdom of your body, trust the wisdom of your earth. And so really just be super gentle with yourself. And I'm actually going to turn on a little piece of music. So that we can just feel a little more. So take a deep breath in, and you're just gonna roll your shoulders up. And then on the out breath, roll your shoulders down. You're just gonna repeat that. And start to notice if there's any other parts of your body that want to kind of join. So my fingers always start to kind of go like this when I start to roll my shoulders forward and down. Inhale, roll your shoulders up. And exhale, down and back. And only make this as accessible to you as feels good. So if you just need to go like little gentle circles like that, please do. And reverse. So inhale up and exhale. So again, we're tapping into touching into this earth. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. So take your hands. You're just gonna give yourself a tiny little massage. Let out some sound if that feels good to you. So again, touching earth. You can kind of go through the elements. So if you like, you can feel into what breath, air feels like in this moment. Really get in there. Moving to one arm, massaging down. Notice the sensations, how it feels to touch your body, how it feels to linger in a spot that needs a little more attention. Moving to the other arm if you already have it. So I think I'll stay inside tonight. Come out a more gracious girl tomorrow. Getting your hands. Like to press my wrist forward like this. And it like, that's me. You don't have to. I'm just kind of doing this, what I like to do. Rolling out your wrists. Maybe you're starting to get a little warm, so you feel like the fires. Change the rotation. Somewhere in my movement practice, I like my face just starts to talk and I start doing this. My face wants to get involved. Oh yeah, if you want to do hand dance, that's nice too. Hand dances. So yeah, that's great. So from here, you start like moving your spine, your shoulders. Yeah, that's some nice hand dancing going on. Loosen up your spine like a snake. Ooh. Crack, 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 crack. I invite you to breathe a lot. Lots of breathing. Inhale. Exhale. So I'm just going to take your arm across this way. Inhale. And the other arm. Now, I'm just going to invite folks to take this moment and, you know, if you want to turn off your video, you can, but just kind of like, here, we'll go into standing. Stand here, and you're just going to widen your legs, and you're just going to kind of do some figure eights to get your hips. And you can also do circles, whatever feels good to you. So again, we're touching into earth, to feeling the weight of your body on the earth. Feeling the sensation of yourself touching your own body. So now, get your arms involved. A stretch. Big X's in one direction. Let that kind of like move you. Feel your feet touching the ground. Now just do a little bounce. So this is really good for the nervous system. Repairs the nervous system. You can also let out some sound. You're gonna take your fists and you're just gonna like pound your body a little bit to give yourself a little body massage. Your legs, your hips, your back, like this. So the body or the earth likes a lot of different kinds of touch. Go ahead and rub your kidneys, very gentle. Massage your lower back. Sound is always good. Massaging up your sides. Do a little shake. Letting out sound. You're going to circle your arms up. Inhaling. So this is sun rays streaming down. So you're going to stream your sun rays down. And earth's mist rising. So you're gathering the earth, the mist, the imaginary mist from the earth. You're gathering it and you're bringing it up over your whole body. Beautiful morning earth mist. Inhaling. Sun rays streaming down, pouring over like a waterfall. Relaxing your head. Earth's mist rising. Covering your body with the earth's mist. Breathing a lot and maybe feeling some fire, some heat generating. Inhaling. One last time, sun rays streaming down. Dive over that waterfall. You can keep your magic to yourself, keep it tucked away. Earth's mist rising. Another wonder for today. Gathering earth's mist at your heart center. Just taking note of your body. It's okay. And what's calling now? Any wisdoms, any calls to action, any just sensations. Just noticing a little body scan from head to toe. What's calling now? A deep breath and just write down anything that comes up. Of course, you can draw, doesn't have to be text, it could be super nonlinear images. So, one of the last things that I want to say before just opening it all up to discussion and reflection is that, you know, I think that this action of touching the earth and saying the earth is my witness, there's so much inside of that action. And I think that this idea that my body is earth and I have all of the emotions like earth does, and it's all, the practice is just to sit and be with that, can be very lofty and can be very kind of meta and broad and not super specific. And yet we live in a very specific world where we go outside every day and we have these interactions with people. And we have systems and, you know, things in place that make it challenging to stay in the body and to stay with the earth. And I think I just want to say that in those moments, connecting with other people, connecting with the actual earth, really can be really painful, very painful, when we're not practicing, when we're not sitting. It's like the most painful thing to actually have relationships with people and a relationship with the earth, because there's so much turmoil and so much chaos right now. But in this idea and this practice of touching the earth as a call to action, I would just like us to reflect and consider it a moment to really touch earth to earth. So if my body is earth and your body is earth, and when things come up and they're super painful, that instead of, you know, saying, oh, this is not happening, or, oh, I love this happening, I want it to happen more, just to stay with it and to witness it and to make contact with yourself when it's hard. And if there's something confusing and challenging about a relationship or a system, to make contact with a person that represents that relationship or that system, and not to avoid or run away, but to touch, to make contact, touch earth to earth, human to human, human to earth. It's all the same material that we get to work with and that we get to stay in relationship with. And that's what the Buddha was doing, was staying, just staying as the seasons changed. As his emotions change, his thoughts change, he stayed. And then he touched the end, the moment of enlightenment, he touched the earth. So just invite you all to touch the earth, touch your earth, your body, and touch human to human, earth to earth. When things get challenging, and even when they don't get challenging, just to remember that's where the wisdom arises. That's the path, is that contact, and staying inside that contact with whatever arises, whatever season or weather patterns occur. So with that, I would love to just sit for like literally 3 minutes and just feeling the weight of your body on the earth. So in a lot of meditation, you're gonna, focus on your breath, you'll focus on the sensations. And here I want to focus on the sensation of your body making contact with the earth, and bring all of your attention back to that point of contact. So you can get in whatever position makes you feel comfortable, laying down. And just gonna take a breath. I'm going to sit for about 3 minutes, feeling, touching earth. And opening your eyes whenever you're ready. Cool. So I'd love to open it up and hear just some of the different things that came up through the exercises. So we did land acknowledgement and some singing about the ancestors inside of nature and some movement. And so what were the different calls that you received, if you feel like sharing? And of course, you don't have to.
So first, I just want to say thank you so much. Like, this was just a beautiful experience. The land acknowledgement, I so appreciate you just bringing that call to action. Was a beautiful piece of tonight, and I definitely do feel led to get in touch with Indigenous people in Baltimore or in Maryland and just kind of try to put my own land acknowledgement together, co-creating it with them. So I really appreciate that. And then just the movement aspect of tonight was so like nourishing for my soul. And when you mentioned, when you said something about like being at work and, you know, to just stand up and like do like a movement, I primarily work from home and have for several years, but last year is the first year that I gave myself permission to, like, in those moments where I'm stressed a little bit, to throw a song on and just like dance. And
Yeah.
it has been so amazing. So when you did the movement practice, it really just made me tap back into that. But the idea of like my body is earth, it's just like touching. So I guess like I have a bunch of comments, but I do have a question. Just curious, like what led you to, I guess, do this practice like in movement, versus, you know, like a lot of people, it's meditation and it's sitting or it's laying down or standing meditation, but this incorporating this movement, just curious, like
Mhm.
where your inspiration comes from.
Yeah. Well, I would say thank you for your reflections. I'm excited about your home work and movement practice. That's fun. I actually came to spirituality through performance. So I started out as an actor and then kind of started doing dance, somatic practice when I went to Naropa. And everything, all of our practices at Naropa were very much body centered. You know, we would have dance class, but we would meditate before dance class. And then we would have contemplative dance practice, which was, you know, you do sitting meditation and then you move into movement from that space of presence. And so it's like, it's the same thing as off the cushion into the world. You know, you're sitting on your cushion and then you know, how do you maintain that presence and that practice while you're in the world? This was like off of the cushion into the dance studio, you know, into like a dance practice. And so now when I lead and then, you know, just in maintaining a meditation practice is just so clear that for me, you know, when presence, when I'm aware inside of my presence in the moment, I'm in my body. I'm moving from my heart and my gut, you know, and so it's a, you know, it is an embodied practice. It's and so for me, it just makes the most sense to kind of wake up your body in all of these different ways. Because that's part of it, is that, you know, we're always so in our heads, you know, it's kind of the saying, we're so in our heads. Well, what does it mean to be in your body? You know, it means that like you have all of these options when you're in your body, you know. And so to really wake that up and give people permission to to like really inhabit your body fully, even if that is just in your home, you know, for a few moments a day before you practice or after you practice. It also made a lot of sense to me because I heard a number of times that people who do that, you know, yoga and meditation are really, they are separate in the world today, but they actually are practices that go together very, you know, like the root of them is that they go together. So what I have heard, and I don't know if this is totally true, but my sense is that, I mean, it really makes sense to me, is that having a full-on yoga practice happened before you meditated so that you could actually sit longer. So it was this whole practice of waking up the body and stretching and, you know, waking up the sensations and waking up the breath so that we could actually like ground even more and deepen even more into the present, you know, in the stillness. So movement activates stillness. Yeah.
Thank you. And then I'll ask just one more question, and then maybe Gil has questions, I don't know. This is just like a personal request. Can you tell me the name of the first song you played?
Everybody loves Tasha. So Tasha is a Chicago artist who is also an activist. Was an activist. Is always an activist in their music. Tasha, Tasha, and the whole album is beautiful. It's a beautiful. It's just a beautiful, like, cozy up and feel good about yourself song. They have this really beautiful song that's a lullaby to little black girls, and it's just, yeah, Tasha is great.
Thank you.
To start with, I feel like a ditto on Sheena, that the land acknowledgement that also inspired me to go and do more. I at least know what the tribe's name is here in Maryland, but to go and reach out to them. Because I'm in Baltimore, and I just learned tonight that Sheena is as well. So, so I do appreciate that very much. And I really loved the dance as well. Dance has always been a way, kind of inside, a way to be present, and to access, more of myself. And it's so easy for me to, like, sit in my chair all day and be completely disconnected from my body. And so I really appreciated the movements that you were doing, and you couldn't see me, but I was getting into it, on my end of things. And it has put an intention in my heart that I will go and try to go and have that more in my day, just to remember that I have a body, and that, without my body, although my brain and my head thinks that it can go along on its own, it really can't. And it's such a fuller experience to be fully inhabiting my body. So I thank you for this.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure, y'all. It is Tasha Viets Van Leer. Yes. Is there any other questions or anything else that you all want to chat about? No? Okay. Thank you so much. This has been so lovely. Yeah.
I really appreciated it. I'm glad that that I got to go and be the host for you. So.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Yay. Well, thank you all.
Okay, so I need to go and do some closing announcements, and then we can be done. So thank you to everyone for joining us for tonight's online Dharma gathering. Please join us next week for the weekly Dharma gathering on Wednesday, February 26th with rock star Lama Rod Owens. It's going to be great, for a talk entitled Love and Fear During Times of War. You can find more details via the link posted in the chat box, which I will do momentarily. Also want to just suggest that those who are listening to this consider becoming a subscriber if you're not already. We have a 7-day free trial that you can find on our website. Tell your friends. And in addition, you can make sure to follow us on Instagram at Weekly Dharma and Facebook at Weekly Dharma Gathering. Okay, thanks so much. Again, thank you, Sojourner. It's a wonderful evening.
Thank you, you too.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.